Take deep breaths, try to relax. Nurse! We need assistance in here immediately.
What would you do if the man you married brought another woman into your home, smiled in your face, and then acted like you were the problem for bleeding? And what if the only person powerful enough to help you was the one man everyone feared? A man cold enough to ruin lives with a single sentence. A man you should never, ever fall for. Stay with me, because this story doesn't just get messy, it gets dangerous. And by the time we reach the end, the truth that comes out is so shocking it will leave you staring at the screen, wondering how love, betrayal, power, and revenge all collided in one family. Amara and Lovu had spent 3 years in a marriage that had never really begun. 3 years of silence. 3 years of waiting. 3 years of being a wife in name, while her husband moved through life like she was just a legal detail attached to a business arrangement. So when she walked into that mansion and saw a beautiful young woman standing too comfortably in her living room, she didn't scream. She didn't cry. She just looked around at the expensive furniture, the polished floors, the wedding portraits that had always felt fake, and thought, so this is what rock bottom looks like. Her husband, Tariq Adebayo, turned at the sound of her heels and frowned like she was the interruption. Amara, don't start. The girl beside him folded her arms, then looked Amara up and down with a sweet smile that didn't reach her eyes. She's prettier than I expected, the girl said. I can see why you married her. Amara kept her face still. And you are? Tariq exhaled in annoyance. Her name is Zuri. She's a student I've been sponsoring. She has nobody in this country. Stop making everything ugly. Zuri stepped closer, openly inspecting Amara like she was a dress on display. Then she reached into her little clutch, pulled out a lipstick, and held it out. Here, she said. You should use this. Men love confidence. The insult was so shameless that for a second, Amara almost laughed. Instead, she took the lipstick, looked at it, then set it on the glass table. Keep it, she said. If you're living off another woman's leftovers, you'll probably need all the help you can get. Tariq's jaw tightened. What is wrong with you? Amara turned to him. I want a divorce. The room went still. Zuri blinked. Tariq stared at her like she'd just started speaking another language. You're being ridiculous. No, Amara said quietly. I'm being late. Ridiculous would have been staying longer. He stepped toward her, lowering his voice. The merger is still in progress. My uncle will never allow a divorce right now. I married you, Amara said, not your uncle. He scoffed. You should remember whose name opened doors for you. You married into the most powerful family in East Africa. Start acting like it. That was the moment the last piece of patience inside her died. She smiled, cold and small. Married into power, she said. Tariq, if my grandfather hadn't forced this alliance in his will, I wouldn't have married you if you were the last man on the continent. He stared at her, stunned. Then he recovered, angry now. You're doing this for attention. You want me to chase you. Amara looked at Zuri, then back at him. If I wanted your attention, I'd knock over your ego. That thing is bigger than the house. He leaned in. Don't push this. My uncle is not like me. Cross him, and he won't just punish you. He'll bury your whole family. She held his gaze. Then I guess I should go introduce myself. And before this gets any darker, if this opening already has you hooked, show the channel some love. Go ahead and like the video and subscribe, because if you stay till the end of this one, trust me, you're going to need somebody to talk to after that final twist. Amara didn't wait for permission. She left the mansion, got in her car, and drove straight to Adebayo Global Headquarters, where Tariq's uncle was in the middle of disciplining one of his senior executives. Malik Adebayo was a man people spoke about in lowered voices. Some called him brilliant. Some called him ruthless. Most called him both. He stood at the head of the boardroom like the air belonged to him, watching a trembling executive confess to embezzlement while security guards flanked the walls. Amara paused at the glass doors just long enough to see fear move through a room full of powerful men. Then she walked in. Tariq, who had rushed ahead of her, went pale. "Amara, don't make a scene." Malik turned slowly. Tall, sharp-faced, dressed in black, with the kind of quiet control that made everyone else seem clumsy, he looked at her once and knew immediately she wasn't there for business. "Speak," he said. Tariq cut in fast. "Uncle, this is a misunderstanding." Amara ignored him. "I want a divorce." The room got even quieter. Malik's expression didn't change. "Reason?" "He found his true love," Amara said. "He even brought her home. I'm not interested in staying behind to audition for the role of dutiful wife." Tariq took a step forward. "That's not true. Zuri is just a student I support." Amara folded her arms. "A student you support all the way into your bedroom?" One of the men near the wall looked down to hide a reaction. Malik's gaze shifted to Tariq. "The woman you brought home, is she really only what you claim she is?" Tariq's voice got tighter. "Nothing happened, and even if there were rumors, going public with this now would hurt the company." Malik looked back at Amara. "No divorce." She almost thought she'd heard him wrong. "What?" "I protect assets," he said. "This marriage is currently one of them." Her eyes flashed. "I'm a person, not a merger clause." "And yet," Malik said coolly, "your timing remains unfortunate." Tariq looked relieved for half a second, which made Amara want to throw something at him. "So that's it?" she said. "I'm supposed to stay married to a man who humiliates me because the family stock price might flinch?" Malik's eyes narrowed just slightly. "You may leave." Amara laughed once, bitterly. "You really do rule this family like a dictator." The room froze again. Nobody spoke to Malik Adebayo like that, not if they valued their future. But he only looked at her a second longer, then turned away like he'd already decided the conversation was over. Tariq caught up with her in the hallway. "You are out of your mind." She kept walking. "You think this was clever?" he snapped. "Cleverer than cheating in your own house." He grabbed her wrist. She stopped and faced him slowly. "Let go. My uncle is not a man you provoke." "Good," she said, "because you don't scare me anymore, and somebody in this family should." He released her with a shove. "You're going to regret this." Amara walked off without answering. But inside, her anger was boiling so hot it kept her moving long after reason would have told her to go home. That was how she ended up on the restricted floor of the executive residence attached to headquarters. That was how she heard voices through a half-open private door. And that was how she stumbled into a secret that would change everything. Inside the dim room, Malik Adebayo was gripping the edge of a table, breathing hard like he was fighting something inside his own body. His chief doctor, Dr. Jelani Dubé, was speaking urgently into a phone. "We found a hospital donor with the right genetic markers," he said. "There may actually be a treatment." Malik's voice came out low and rough. "Find the donor. Now." Amara took a step back, intending to leave. Her heel clicked. Malik's head turned. His eyes found her instantly. And in that moment, Amara realized she had made a catastrophic mistake. He crossed the room in 3 strides. "Why are you here?" "I can explain," she said quickly. "Actually, no, I can't, but I can definitely leave." He grabbed her arm. His skin was burning. She looked up into a face that no longer seemed calm, only dangerous. "What did you hear?" "Nothing," she lied. "Your door is built like a bank vault, very secure, 10 out of 10. "If you walk out that door," he said, voice hard as steel, "I'll make sure you never speak again." Amara froze. "Not leaving," she said at once. "I'm staying exactly here, completely harmless, emotionally supportive even." He swayed once. She saw the strain in his face. For the first time, fear shifted inside her, not just for herself, but for him. "You're burning up," she said. "Can I get water? Medicine? A towel? Literally anything?" He pulled her closer instead. "You've seen too much." "Then I'm suddenly blind," she blurted, "and possibly developing amnesia." Dr. Jelani rushed in. "Sir, stop. She's the donor." Everything changed. Amara stared between them. "The what?" The doctor looked almost relieved. "Miss Ndlovu, Mr. Adebayo has a rare genetic condition. When it flares, he loses control. Your blood contains a specific cellular structure that stabilizes it. You're a perfect match." Amara blinked. "So let me get this straight. My blood is keeping that man alive?" "Yes." She looked at Malik, who was still watching her with that same lethal intensity. "How often?" The doctor hesitated. "Twice a month, if necessary." Amara swallowed. "And if I say no?" Malik answered himself. "Then you leave here and pray I don't reconsider whether you know too much." She stared at him for a beat, then let out a shaky breath. "Okay, great, fine, wonderful. As long as I stay breathing, I can live with weird." Malik's eyes hardened. "If you tell anyone, you disappear." She mimed, zipping her lips. "Mouth shut, soul sealed, understood." She turned to go, then looked back once. He was already recovering that cold expression, rebuilding the wall around himself. And somehow, that unsettled her more than the threat had. A few days later, the charity gala arrived. Adebayo Global's golden couple stood under crystal lights while cameras flashed and reporters smiled. Amara was on Tariq's arm, dressed in silver, looking like a woman carved from elegance and restraint. To the world, they were perfect. To each other, they were barely civil. "Smile," Tariq muttered through his teeth. "I am," Amara said. "This is my polite face. Don't start anything tonight." "Oh, relax. I'd hate to ruin your romance." He went still. "What does that mean?" Amara's gaze shifted over his shoulder. There, descending the staircase in a soft gold gown, was Zuri. Invited. Publicly. Brazenly. Zuri smiled when she saw them. "I hope I'm not interrupting," she said sweetly. "The foundation invited me as one of its sponsored scholars. Thanks to Tariq's support over the past 3 years, I'm finally standing in rooms like this." Amara held her expression. Tariq said nothing. Zuri tilted her head. "I mean, he's been beside me since your wedding. I hope that doesn't make things awkward." Be honest, if you were in Amara's place right there, would you walk away with dignity? Or would you drag both of them by the truth in front of every camera in the room? Tell me in your mind as you listen, because what she chooses next says everything about who she is. Amara smiled. "Not awkward at all," she said. "Trash has a way of finding trash. Saves the rest of us time." Zuri's smile tightened. Tariq hissed, "Enough!" But Amara had already seen someone else across the room. Malik stood near the far column, drink untouched, eyes on her. She couldn't tell how long he had been watching, only that being watched by him felt strangely like being called forward, even from across a crowded hall. Later that night, one of Malik's men approached her quietly. "Mr. Adebayo is ready." Amara closed her eyes once. Right. The blood draw. She was led into a private medical suite within the estate wing. She expected nurses, equipment, sterile order. Instead, she found Malik alone. He stood by the table, sleeves rolled back, looking entirely too capable for a man who was apparently not supposed to draw blood himself. "Where's the doctor?" "Busy." "No," Amara said at once. "Absolutely not. You are not sticking me with a needle. You look like someone who would turn a simple blood draw into a hostage situation." "Sit down." "What if you miss? What if I die of infection? What if—" "Amara." Something in the way he said her name made her stop. She sat. He tied the band around her arm with efficient hands. She watched him, suspicious. "You really do this yourself?" "I don't trust loose mouths." "Your trust issues are exhausting." "And yet here you are." She flinched when the needle went in. "Ow!" "You talk too much." "That's because I prefer being alive." His mouth almost moved. Almost. Then voices drifted in from outside the partially open side corridor. A man and woman, laughing softly. Amara recognized them immediately. Tariq and Zuri. She turned her head just enough to see through the narrow slit in the curtain. Zuri leaned into Tariq, one hand against his chest. "You've been avoiding me," she murmured. "My uncle's watching everything," Tariq said. "If he catches us—" "So what?" Zuri whispered. "You're just going to leave me alone after all I've done for you?" He lowered his head. "I'll make it up to you." Amara felt something sharp and ugly twist in her chest. Not heartbreak. That had died a long time ago. No, this was insult. Humiliation remembered in real time. And next to her, Malik's gaze remained fixed on her face, as if he was studying the exact moment pain tried to disguise itself as indifference. "How does it feel?" he asked quietly, "watching your husband betray you?" Amara let out a breath. "Honestly? Convenient. He keeps proving my point." A crash sounded outside, followed by muffled laughter. Zuri said something bold enough that Amara wished she could unhear it. Then, movement. Another woman, hidden from view inside a shadowed doorway opposite the corridor, slipped away. Only one thing was visible before the figure vanished. A bracelet. A very expensive, very distinct bracelet. Amara's eyes narrowed. Malik followed her line of sight. "Who was that?" she asked. He didn't answer. "Interesting. Very interesting." Then someone called from outside, "Sir?" Malik stepped away. The unseen woman was gone by the time anyone else looked. Amara glanced back at him. He glanced back at her. And for one strange second, a secret passed between them that neither was willing to name. If you're still with me, this is where you need to tap that like button, because from this point on, every secret in this family starts tearing another secret open. The next blow came from Tariq's mother. Madame Sade Adebayo had never liked Amara. She liked obedience. She liked optics. She liked women who knew how to lower their heads and preserve a family's image while men did whatever they wanted in peace. Zuri, with her soft voice and humble act, fit that fantasy perfectly. So when Zuri arrived at Sade's estate carrying a basket of fresh mangoes and tears in her eyes, She was welcomed with open arms. "You're thoughtful," Sade said warmly. "Nothing like that shallow wife of Tariq's." Zuri lowered her lashes. "I don't want to speak badly of anyone, ma'am. I only worry because I've seen how Mrs. Adebayo treats him. She slapped him in public. She humiliates him. Maybe she's just unhappy, but I fear she may destroy him." Sade's face darkened. "She put her hands on my son?" At that exact moment, one of the staff members entered. "Ma'am, Miss Ndlovu is here to discuss the suburban development project." Sade's expression turned glacial. "Let her wait." Amara waited for nearly an hour in the courtyard heat before she was finally brought inside. And when she entered, Zuri was already there, sitting comfortably beside Sade, smiling. Too late, that smile said. "Miss Ndlovu," Zuri said. "What a surprise." Sade didn't offer Amara a seat. "I hear you've been making scenes," she said. "And now you come begging over a project?" Amara kept her tone even. "I'm not begging. The suburban project was assigned to me months ago. I'm here to finalize the transfer." Zuri lifted a glass of mango juice from the tray. "Then drink this first," she said. "All of it. Impress Madame Sade. Maybe she'll still consider you." Amara went still. Her eyes dropped to the glass, then rose. "You know I'm severely allergic to mango." Zuri smiled wider. "Exactly." Sade said nothing. That silence said enough. Amara looked from one woman to the other and understood all at once how low this family was willing to go when cruelty could be wrapped in elegance. She set her bag down slowly. "I wouldn't." Zuri snapped her fingers at the staff. "Hold her!" Hands grabbed Amara's arms. The glass came toward her mouth. She twisted away. "Let go of me!" "Open up," Zuri said, voice losing its sweetness. "You want the project? Earn it." Amara's rage exploded. "You pathetic snake!" The glass tipped. Juice spilled across her skin. A few drops touched her lips. Her body reacted almost instantly. Her breathing tightened. Her throat started to burn. The room blurred. And right before fear took over, a familiar voice cut through the chaos like a blade. "What exactly do you think you're doing?" Everyone froze. Malik Adebayo stood in the doorway, still, silent, deadly. No one moved. No one breathed. His gaze took in Amara's restrained arms, the glass, the mangoes, Zuri's face, his sister-in-law's silence. Then he walked in. He removed the glass from Zuri's hand, set it aside, and slapped the table so hard the crystal shook. "Release her!" The staff let go instantly. Amara stumbled, half choking, half standing. Malik caught her before she hit the floor. His voice remained calm, which somehow made it worse. "To poison a woman over a project," he said, eyes on Zuri, "is a new level of stupidity." Zuri fell to her knees. "Sir, please, it was a misunderstanding." "Eat the mangoes." She stared at him. Sade stood up. "Malik." He didn't even look at her. "I wasn't speaking to you." Then he finally did look at Zuri. "You manipulated Tariq. You manipulated his mother. You thought that gave you the right to play games inside my company and my family. Eat." Zuri started crying. "Please, sir, I'm allergic too." "Then perhaps now," Malik said softly, "you understand why attempted harm is not a joke." He signaled security. "Make sure she finishes what she served." Amara, barely conscious, felt herself lifted into Malik's arms. That was the last thing she clearly remembered before the world went dark. She woke in a quiet bedroom she didn't recognize. Soft sheets, filtered afternoon light, the faint scent of medicine. Her throat ached. Her skin burned in patches. An IV line sat in her arm. Dr. Jelani noticed her stir. "Good, you're awake." Amara tried to sit up. The project is yours," came Malik's voice from the doorway. He entered with that same unreadable face, but she caught the fatigue in his eyes before it disappeared. "In Adebayo Global," he said, "my word is law." Amara blinked at him. "You just say things like that casually?" "It saves time." Dr. Jelani chuckled under his breath and immediately straightened when Malik glanced his way. Amara looked between them. "So, I'm alive?" "Barely," Malik said. "Comforting." He moved closer, then stopped by the bed. "You don't need to smile through pain," he said quietly. "Not for a project. Not for me." The words landed somewhere inside her that had been empty for a long time. She looked away first. Later, when Malik stepped out, Dr. Jelani adjusted her bandages and spoke carefully. "You may not know this," he said, "but Mr. Adebayo is not close to the rest of the family. He grew up outside the main house. His mother died early. He spent years surviving the hard way before he came back and took control." Amara frowned. "So the tyrant had a tragic origin story?" Dr. Jelani smiled faintly. "Something like that. He was not born cruel, Miss Ndlovu. He was made necessary." That night, Malik returned while she was still awake. He set down a tray. Soup, water, medicine. "You're back," she said. "Unfortunately for both of us." She looked at the tray. "Did the great Malik Adebayo bring me dinner?" "I brought you instructions. The staff brought dinner." "Liar." He ignored that. As she ate, he said, "Tariq's mother wants Zuri placed as his executive assistant." Amara nearly choked. "You agreed?" "I do not manage every foolish staffing request in the subsidiaries." She set the spoon down. "Then grant me the divorce." "No." Her temper rose immediately. "You command boardrooms, security forces, billion-dollar deals, but one cheating nephew is somehow beyond your reach?" He stared at her. She pushed on. "You know what the worst part is? You all act like my life is negotiable as long as the merger stays pretty." "I found you unconscious in the rain," he said quietly. "Does that sound like I find your life negotiable?" The room went still. Amara looked at him. He looked back. She broke eye contact first. "Then stop saving me," she muttered. "I didn't ask for it." He nodded once. "Fine." Then his gaze dropped to the clothes she was wearing. "I bought those." Amara looked down at the loose silk robe. A wicked impulse sparked. "Really?" she said. "Then maybe you should take them back." Before he could answer, she tugged at the tie. His head snapped up. "Enough." "What?" she said innocently. "You're the one who said you bought them." His jaw tightened, and for the first time, she saw something like panic break through his composure. "Interesting. Very interesting." She let the robe fall back into place and smiled. The next morning, his assistant Kato drove her home with a coat, antihistamines, scar cream, gauze, and a long list of care instructions. "All from Mr. Adebayo," Kato said. Amara lifted a brow. "He told you to say that?" "No. He told me to make sure you take care of yourself." She leaned back against the seat, hiding the strange warmth that statement created. At home, the warmth died instantly. Tariq walked into her room without knocking. "Amara." She didn't look up. "Ever heard of doors?" "How long are you going to play this cold queen act?" She laughed in disbelief. "You brought another woman home." "I can see through you," he said. "You still love me. You always have." Amara stared at him. "Did you hit your head recently?" His ego didn't even blink. "If you wanted my attention this badly, you could have said so." He grabbed her wrist, trying to pull her toward him. "Get off me." "Stop lying to yourself." Her patience snapped. She shoved him hard. "The only thing I regret," she said, "is not divorcing you faster." He glared. "If my grandfather hadn't allowed you into this marriage, you'd still be fetching coffee in corporate." Her face changed, slowly, dangerously. "And if my grandfather hadn't pitied your family's need for an alliance," she said, "you'd still be running around mistaking arrogance for intelligence." He stared at her, furious. She pointed at the door. "Out!" He left only when he realized she truly meant it. And somehow, that made him even more obsessed with the idea that she must secretly still want him. A few days later, she returned to Malik's estate for another blood draw. Only this time, staying away from him felt harder than showing up. That should have alarmed her. Instead, she told herself it was simple. He was useful. He was sharp. He was unlike anyone she had ever known. And unlike her husband, when Malik looked at her, he actually seemed to see her. That was dangerous enough all by itself. The blood draw went smoother. The banter didn't. "You complain like the needle is a sword," Malik said.
"I complain because I believe suffering should be witnessed. You are dramatic. And you're a joyless tyrant." He finished sealing the vial. "Done." She watched him carefully. "Can I ask you something?" "You usually do whether I say yes or no." "That bracelet, the one I saw outside the corridor at the gala. Who was the woman with you?" His expression flattened. "You enjoy surviving on thin ice." "Oh, so there was a woman." He stepped closer. "You ask too many questions. And you avoid too many answers." For a second, it felt like the whole room narrowed around them. Then his phone rang. He turned away. The moment passed. Or rather, it hid. Because it definitely didn't disappear. If you're still here, subscribe right now, because this is the kind of story where every time you think the tension can't get worse, two people breathe in the same room, and suddenly the whole future changes. That future got even stranger when Malik sent Amara a luxury gift package the very next day. Designer clothes, limited edition cufflinks, a handwritten note with no signature that simply said, "For the project you didn't have to bleed for." Amara read it twice and snorted. He really thinks expensive silence solves everything. But she kept the note, which annoyed her. Things might have remained in that strange, unresolved state if not for violence. One evening, Malik took her to a private training range hidden on his estate. She stopped dead when she saw the weapons table. "No." He held out a sleek handgun. "Yes, I am not touching that. You live inside a war zone disguised as a family. Learn." She crossed her arms.
This feels less like self-defense and more like the opening of a crime documentary. He stepped behind her, close enough for her breath to change. He gently adjusted her grip. Chest up. Lock your wrists. Focus. His voice was low by her ear. She hated how aware she was of him. I can't believe this is happening. Breathe. She fired. Missed badly. He didn't move away. Again. She fired a second time. This one hit the outer ring. Oh my God, she said. I actually hit it. He let out the faintest exhale, almost amused. Then gunfire erupted from the far edge of the property. Real gunfire, not training shots. Security alarms screamed. Malik pulled Amara down behind cover instantly. Multiple men ran toward the ridge. Kato shouted, "Attackers on the east wall!" Amara's whole body went cold. Malik turned to her. Stay down. No argument there. His men returned fire. 2 intruders dropped. 1 was taken alive. When the chaos finally slowed, Amara realized she was shaking.
Malik crouched in front of her. Look at me. She did. As long as you're beside me, he said, no one touches you. It should have sounded controlling. Instead, it sounded like a promise. She looked at him, really looked at him, and something shifted. Because for the first time, she believed him. That same night, he gave her a ring and the weapon he had trained her on. The gun was custom, elegant, almost too beautiful to be dangerous. It's called the Shadow S1, he said. If you fire it anywhere, my Sable unit will come. Amara stared. This feels insane for a gift. Then don't take it. She clutched it tighter. I didn't say that. And the ring? She asked. A tracker. That ring could buy a country. Then try not to lose it. She smirked. You're accidentally becoming generous. He looked at her too long before answering. I don't do accidents. That line stayed with her. So did the way he said it. Back at the mansion she shared with Tariq, things collapsed all over again. Zuri had found the ring, or rather, she had taken it, hidden it, and then arranged for Amara to be accused of lying when it went missing. By the time Amara realized what was happening, half the household was in her room. Tariq was defending Zuri, and Zuri was crying dramatically about being accused unfairly. That ring was a gift from Tariq, Zuri said. Why would I steal from her? Amara held her stare. Because lying is the only skill you've actually mastered. Tariq snapped, Enough! Search the room! The ring was found among Zuri's belongings only after Amara forced the search. Zuri started trembling, then pointed at Amara. She planted it. She's framing me because she's jealous. Tariq turned to Amara. And where exactly did that ring come from? Amara said evenly, Malik gave it to me. Silence. Then laughter. Tariq shook his head. My uncle? He would never. Zuri jumped in. And the gun too? She's using his name now? Amara's eyes turned icy. You want proof? She lifted the Shadow S1. Tariq's face drained of color. Put that down. Since none of you believe me, she said, let's ask the man himself. Then she fired once into the ceiling. The house exploded into panic. Tariq shouted, servants screamed, Zuri nearly collapsed. But outside, far beyond the estate walls, engines roared to life. Sirens didn't come. Something worse did. The Sable unit. Within minutes, black convoys surrounded the property. Armed operatives poured in. Tariq turned white.
The S1 is real. Zuri grabbed his arm in terror. Say she stole it. Say she stole everything. Do something. He hesitated. That hesitation was the last shred of his humanity. Then, he chose wrong. He pointed at Amara. She took my uncle's weapon, he said. She must have manipulated him. Restrain her until he gets here. Men from the house staff moved toward her. She backed up, stunned. You're really doing this? Zuri shouted. Punish her! Hands grabbed Amara. She fought, but too many came at once. Someone shoved her to her knees. Someone pulled her arms back. Tariq stood there, watching, not stopping it. And in that moment, something inside Amara went cold forever. Then the front doors opened. Malik entered. The room changed. He took one look at her restrained on the floor and said very softly, "Who touched her?" Nobody answered. Nobody dared. Tariq rushed forward. Uncle, she stole the gun. She claimed you gave her a ring. She created this whole... She saved my life, Malik said. Every word after that hit like thunder. The gun was my gift. The ring was my gift. And any fool who laid a hand on her has mistaken my silence for permission. Tariq's mouth opened. Nothing came out. Zuri started crying harder. Sir, he told me... Remove Tariq as acting president of the branch, Malik said to his men. Effective immediately. Tariq spun. Uncle! The price of blindness, Malik said, is loss. He turned to Zuri. As for her, if I see her near any Adebayo property again, she will wish exile had been the punishment. Zuri collapsed. Tariq looked shattered. And Amara, bruised and breathing hard, could do nothing but stare at Malik as he crossed the room, knelt in front of her, and personally untied her wrists. His hands were careful. His eyes were not. Did they hurt you? She swallowed. You came. His jaw tightened. Of course I came. Later, after everyone else had been cleared away, Tariq tried to follow her. Amara, wait. She turned slowly. He looked like a man waking up too late. I didn't know, he said. Zuri deceived me. Amara laughed once. No, you deceived yourself. That's worse. I can fix this. You couldn't fix a lie if it introduced itself. He stepped closer. I know I failed you. For 3 years. Yes. You ignored my calls. He looked away. You let another woman humiliate me in my own home. He said nothing. You watched men put their hands on me. His face broke then, but Amara no longer cared. I don't love you, she said. I never did. And the cruel part was not that she said it. The cruel part was that it was true. Malik, meanwhile, was falling apart in private. His condition worsened, and when Dr. Jelani discovered the blood extractions were damaging Amara's immune system, everything got uglier. The bruises on her skin weren't random. The fevers, the weakness, the fainting, all of it traced back to what her body had been sacrificing for him. Frequent illness at best, Dr. Jelani told Malik in private. At worst, continuing like this could kill her. Malik went silent. Then he made a decision. No more blood. Dr. Jelani stared at him. Sir, without treatment, no one draws another drop from her. Ever again. When Amara found out, she was furious. You don't get to decide that for me. Yes, he said, I do. Your pride is unbelievable, and your self-preservation is non-existent. I am trying to save you, and I am trying not to destroy you. That argument burned between them for days. So when the research team finally announced a possible human trial that might stabilize Malik long-term, Amara volunteered before he could stop her. No, Malik said instantly. Yes, she shot back. This is experimental. So is loving anybody in this family, and look how that went. His eyes flashed. This isn't a joke. She stepped closer. Neither is watching you die because your ego won't let me help. He went very still, then said quieter, You owe me nothing. Amara held his gaze. Maybe not, she said, but I'm still not walking away. The trial nearly killed her. The fever hit hard. Her body convulsed under the strain. At one point, she was barely conscious, and the first name she whispered was his. Malik was at her side in seconds. I'm here. It hurts. I know. Don't leave. His hand closed around hers. I'm not going anywhere. Dr. Jelani urged him to stop the procedure. Malik nearly did. But Amara, trembling, half delirious, still forced out the words, Trust me. So he did. And when she finally stabilized, when the monitors evened out and her breathing calmed, something inside him broke open that would not go back into hiding. Later, alone in the dark recovery room, he looked at her as if seeing her had become the most dangerous thing in his life. Amara woke to find him still there. You look terrible, she murmured. You almost died. You're welcome. He exhaled, stunned by her ability to be impossible even then. Then silence settled. Not awkward, heavy, alive. Amara looked at him. Do you have something else in mind for me? He answered too fast. You're a donor, that's all. She studied him, then gave the smallest smile. Liar. The kiss happened later than it should have and earlier than it was safe for. It started with an argument. Of course it did. He was trying to help her sit up. She accused him of hovering. He accused her of recklessness. She said, Don't tell me you're falling for me. He said, Of course not. She smiled weakly. Good. Then we're even. Something about that made him lose the last of his control. He kissed her. Once. Hard. Like a man who had denied himself too long and hated himself for how badly he wanted more. When he pulled back, both of them were breathing like the room had changed shape. Amara blinked. Well, she said softly, that was definitely not very uncle-like of you. His expression turned dark with desire and frustration all at once. No, he said, it wasn't. If you're still here, this is your final reminder to like the video and subscribe, because the ending is coming, and once it hits, you'll understand why I warned you in the beginning. 2 weeks later, Tariq learned where Amara had been staying. At Malik's residence. Overnight. Often. His humiliation turned to obsession. By the night of Adebayo Global's merger victory gala, he was desperate enough to make a public scene. The ballroom was glowing gold. Executives toasted. Reporters swarmed.
Malik gave a speech about expansion, power, and the future. Then Tariq saw Amara descend the grand staircase in deep emerald silk, looking calm, radiant, untouchable. And he lost whatever was left of his pride. Amara. She didn't smile. Tariq. I was wrong, he said at once. I was blind. Zuri poisoned everything between us. Please, come back to me. I love you. I'll make this right. She stared at him with almost clinical detachment. You only started seeing me after you lost me. I can change. No, she said. You can panic. He reached for her wrist. Before he could close his hand, another voice cut in. I consent. Tariq turned. Malik stood there, immaculate in black, cold as judgment. Amara didn't look surprised. Tariq did. What? She filed for dissolution, Malik said. I've approved it. You had no right. Malik's gaze sharpened. You forfeited the right to complain the moment you mistook cruelty for authority. Tariq looked between them, rage dawning into realization. It's her, he said. That's why you gave her the ring, the gun. You want her. Malik took one step closer. You lost her on your own. Tariq's face crumpled with the force of that truth. He tried again, softer now, almost broken. Amara, please, I can do better. She shook her head. You had 3 years. That ended it. Or it should have. But afterward, in a quieter wing of the estate, as the music from the gala drifted faintly through the walls, Malik and Amara found themselves alone. He reached out and touched her wrist gently where Tariq had grabbed her. When did you become so possessive? She asked lightly. I don't share, he said. She tried to hide how that affected her. Tariq was my husband. I know. She studied him. So you agreed to the divorce because the merger is finally secure? He looked at her for a long moment. Yes, he said. At first. At first? Somewhere along the way, he said, voice lower now, seeing him near you became unbearable. That took the air out of the room. Amara's heartbeat changed. He stepped closer. I can't stand him looking at you, he said. I can't stand him touching you. I can't stand the idea that I waited while someone less than worthy had what should never have been his. Her voice came out quieter than she intended. What exactly are you saying? I want you. No hesitation, no rescue behind the words, no excuse, just truth. All of you, he said. Amara looked at him, and there it was again, that impossible pull between danger and safety, between the one man she was supposed to fear and the only one who had truly protected her. She tried for humor because sincerity suddenly felt too exposed. This is a little problematic, she said. You are technically my ex-husband's uncle. The family registry is public record, Malik said. Anyone who disapproves may file their complaint from another continent. She laughed despite herself, then sobered. I just got free. I don't know if I believe in love anymore. Then don't call it love. What should I call it? He looked at her like the answer was obvious. Yours. That did something reckless to her heart. So naturally, she covered it with nonsense. Maybe we skip romance and become temporary comfort partners. His brows lifted. Temporary? Simple, efficient, no messy feelings. And if I say no, I'll find someone else. The temperature in the room dropped. Someone else? He repeated. She instantly knew that had been a mistake, but before she could answer, he had her backed gently against the wall,
one hand braced beside her head. "Not your style," he said. "Oh? I'll take the arrangement." Her pulse jumped. "Really?" He leaned in, voice rough. "On one condition." "What condition?" "You stop pretending this would ever be temporary." Then he kissed her again, slower this time, like a claim he had no intention of apologizing for. Outside the door, fate decided that peace had lasted too long. Tariq showed up one last time. He pounded on the door, voice cracking. "Amara, please, I'll give you anything. Shares, assets, houses, whatever you want. Just come back." Amara drew back, half amused, half exhausted. At least he learned how to negotiate. Malik's hand drifted toward the gun on the side table. "You're not shooting him." "I'm considering silencing him." She caught his wrist. "Absolutely not." From outside, Tariq kept begging. "I swear I'll love you forever." Amara rolled her eyes. That word sounds cheap in his mouth. Malik looked at her. "I can't promise forever the way he does." She blinked. He continued, serious now. "All I know is that since you came into my life, I have not wanted to let you go." That was it. That was the line that reached the center of her. Not because it was dramatic, because it was honest. She touched his face. "Then don't." He exhaled like he'd been holding that breath for weeks. Outside, Tariq shouted again. Amara raised her voice just enough to answer. "I've moved on." Silence. Then a softer, devastated, "Amara." She looked at Malik and smiled. "We should probably make that clearer." He understood instantly. When they opened the door, Tariq looked wrecked. Red eyes, crumpled suit, pride gone. He saw the two of them standing together and finally understood what he had truly lost. Malik didn't bother softening it. "You're past tense, nephew." Tariq swayed like the words physically hit him. Amara stepped forward just enough to be heard clearly. "You had chances. You wasted all of them. We are done." Tariq looked at Malik. "Send me away then. Out of the city, out of the country. I don't care." Malik studied him for a moment, then nodded once. "Granted." Tariq laughed bitterly. "I never understood her world. Maybe it was never mine to enter." For the first time, Amara actually pitied him. But pity was not love, and it was never going to be enough. After he left, the estate fell quiet. No cameras, no enemies, no begging voices at the door. Just the two of them. Malik turned to Amara. "There's one matter left." She folded her arms. "That sounds threatening." "It's legal." "That sounds worse." He took her hand. His thumb brushed over the place where the ring sat now, warm against her skin. "You once entered this family by obligation," he said. "If you stay now, it will be by choice." Her breath caught. "Are you asking me something, Malik?" "Yes." The feared king of Adebayo Global, the man who could freeze boardrooms and command private armies, looked at her with a vulnerability almost no one alive had ever seen. "I'm asking whether you'll let me spend the rest of my life proving I know the difference between possession and devotion." Amara swallowed hard. For a woman who always had a comeback, words suddenly failed her. So she did what she did best. She smiled through the emotion. "That depends." His eyes narrowed slightly. "On what?" "You spoil me for life." His mouth finally, fully, unmistakably curved. "No complaints." She stepped into him. He wrapped his arms around her like he had been denied that right for too long. And in the end, that was the shock no one saw coming.
Not that the neglected wife left the cheating husband. Not that the powerful uncle chose the woman everyone else underestimated. But that the coldest man in the family turned out to love with the most terrifying sincerity of all. The woman they treated like an expendable alliance became the only person who could bring the empire's most feared man to his knees. And the man who was once forbidden became the one who finally made her feel chosen. By law, by heart, by war, by peace, together.